It's three things in life that's certain. Death, taxes, and 85 gonna always be open.
Go my way, 'cause I'm gonna be open. I got you.
Well, who would have thought it? At the start of the season, many people were expecting the Bengals to win no more than 6 games. Fast forward to the beginning of Week 17, and the Bengals were in a position to play the Chiefs, win, and they would win the division and get in the playoffs. They would then go on to do the unthinkable and defeat the Chiefs 34-31 in a comeback thriller that saw the Bengals win with a game-winning field goal off Evan McPherson's leg. They would then go on to lift the 31-year-long curse from Cincinnati that saw the Bengals not win a playoff game at all in that time span. Afterwards, they then went on a miraculous playoff run that went to the AFC Championship game, where they had the exact same scenario in Week 17 happen, where they won a comeback thriller off Evan McPherson's leg for a game winner. What that has led to now are the Bengals competing in Super Bowl 56 against the Los Angeles Rams for it all. Joe Burrow in year 2 after a catastrophic ACL tear that completely damaged his knee, along with this coaching staff who has drafted amazingly over the last 2 years, and the front office spending in free agency, has wounded the Bengals into the Super Bowl, which nobody, including myself, saw coming. Regardless of what happens in the Super Bowl on Sunday, we can all agree that Cincinnati has an incredibly bright future, and we're sure to see many more AFC Championship games and Super Bowls where they will be competing in. When looking back on this playoff run, all we can think to ourselves is, how did this happen? How are we here? What did we do to get here? Well, let's start with the Raiders game. I'm really excited to recap this playoffs. Let's get started.
Fourth down and goal from the 9. The play clock at 3. Shotgun snap. Carr throws into traffic. Intercepted.
And for the first time in 31 years, Cincinnati, your Bengals have won a playoff game.
Heading into this game, the Raiders game is going to be the toughest game of the entire Bengals playoff run. The main reason for that isn't because of the team in front of them or how difficult it is, but it's because of how big the moment was, and that it was a 31-year curse looming over them that if they lost this game, would then be attached to them. The monumental importance of this game cannot be expressed. This was a brand new young team with a lot of potential and a lot on the line. If they blew this, a lot of Cincinnati would not have faith for them in the future. As the game got started, everything you could imagine started going the Bengals' way. Turnovers, moving the ball downfield, touchdowns, you name it. It was all going their way. A controversial whistle call also got in the way, but in my personal opinion, it shouldn't have been blown in the first place, so I don't really care for the call. However, many people view that differently, and it could have changed the outcome of the game, absolutely. But moving forward, as they went down 20-6, the Raiders came back and got a touchdown of their own before the half ended, making them go down 20-13. After that, the Bengals showed a rare form where they turned into a first half team rather than a second half team, which they've been all year. They only scored 6 points in the second half on offense, which is crazy to think about. But what's important is that the defense stepped up. They also held the Raiders to 6 points in the second half, which led to Derek Carr having the ball in his hands last. That led to Jermaine Pratt having the game-winning interception to seal it, and Cincinnati's 31-year playoff curse has been finally lifted. There's a lot of stuff that stands out that I can talk about, but the main thing that sticks out to me is the grit and heart of this team to not let the pressure fold them like previous teams have in the past. But the main theme that followed this game is that they were expected to win, and the team knew that, and they went out and handled business like they expected to, and that was a huge part of success for this team. I think all of us Cincinnati fans can agree this made us very proud of the team, and it showed us what we're capable of in the future. Also, can we just appreciate how good this CJ Uzomah celebration is? I mean, the icky shuffle into the gritty, I mean, it's beautiful. Like, holy fuck, it's beautiful!
Into the cover, hooks the leg, the streak is over.
Back to throw, looking, throws over the middle, bobbled, intercepted. The Bengals have it at the 47-yard line. 20 seconds on the clock, and the Bengals will have the ball. McPherson ready from 52 yards away. Clark Harris will snap it back to Kevin Huber for the win. The snap, the put down, the swing of the right leg. It's on its way. It is good. Coffin nailed.
After handling business against Las Vegas, the Bengals then went on the road to Nashville, Tennessee, where they played the Titans. The Titans came into this game as the #1 seed, getting Derrick Henry back and looking like possible favorites to go to the Super Bowl. I talked with many Titans fans before this game going into it and learning more about their team, and the #1 thing they stressed more than anything was how dominant their defensive line was. And I must say they were ultimately right. The Titans have the best pass rush in the league, I'm convinced after this game. The way they schemed disguises and rushed the quarterback was insane. Yes, I do think the Titans have a better pass rush and defensive line than the Rams. 9 sacks on Joe Burrow was insane, and I hope we never see it again. As the game started off, you saw Tannehill fold into the pressure immediately on the very first play as he threw a pick to Jesse Bates. However, momentum quickly halted as the Bengals were then held to a field goal due to the offensive line not being able to hold a man whatsoever. They would then jump out to a 6-0 lead before the Titans stormed down the field and got a rushing touchdown with Derrick Henry on a Wildcat play. After that, a penalty happened on the extra point attempt, which then moved the Titans up to the 1-yard line and then prompted them into going for 2 points. They ran it with Derrick Henry, but ultimately Clay Johnson came around the side and made a clutch play to stop Derrick Henry before reaching the goal line, which then resulted in a tied game. And ultimately after that, the Bengals relied on Evan McPherson's leg once again to the offensive line not being able to hold a man, and they went up 9-6 entering into the half. However, coming out of the half, the Bengals drove down the field relentlessly, and Joe Mixon busted open a 20-yard run to get the touchdown and put the Bengals up 16-6, a double-digit lead that was huge. Then on the very next drive, the Titans put in Deontay Foreman for a few plays, and in a few plays, he gathered huge chunk yards that put the Titans into the red zone almost immediately. Oh, I'm so sorry. I was imitating Ryan Tannehill on the very next play when they decided to make him throw the ball one time. In case you didn't get it, Ryan Tannehill choked yet again, and Mike Hilton made an amazing play and tipped the ball into the air as he went for a blitz, and Tannehill went for a check down and picked it off and went downfield. However, once again, you guessed it, momentum was halted once again because the offensive line didn't know how to hold a man whatsoever. After a few repeated series of this and A.J. Brown making incredible plays and willing the Titans back into this game, we had a tied ball game at 16-16. However, when the Bengals needed it most, the defense came in clutch once again, and Eli Apple tipped the ball into the air for Logan Wilson to pick off and give the Bengals the ball with 20 seconds left, almost in field goal range. The Titans then put one-on-one coverage with Jamar Chase for the first time all game, and it ended up being the worst mistake they made all game. Jamar Chase blew past Janoris Jenkins immediately, and Burrow connected with him almost immediately afterwards that. Jamar Chase gets out of bounds, and the Bengals are already in field goal range. Ultimately, you guys know the story. The legacy of Evan McPherson grows even larger. He kicks the game winner, and we're headed to the AFC Championship game. So many things happened that changed the outcome of this game, but the main thing I look at when I'm looking at how the Bengals played the Titans is that they out-physicaled them. We faced all adversity in this game, and we out-physicaled the Titans when we needed to, and we willed our way into victory, which is something not many teams can do. Also, shout out to DJ Reader for having one of his most monstrous games of his entire career when we needed it most. And most importantly, Joe Burrow showed that he does not fold under any types of pressure whatsoever. Doesn't matter how many times you sack him, he's going to get right back up, and he's going to keep throwing darts in your face. Just looking at this game, it was so special to see how he handled business again on the road. It was the franchise's first road playoff win ever. So once again, another accomplishment has been made and a narrative has been smashed. Seems like a reoccurring theme with this team right now. But it really showed me a lot with just how much heart this team has and just the potential of it overall. And that was a complete performance by the defense. I can't stress to you enough how good this defense was this game. It was insane. And also congratulations to the Titans. They put up a fantastic fight. But ultimately it seems to be that Tannehill is just not the guy. And with that, in the famous words of Evan McPherson, looks like we're going to the AFC Championship game.
Behind takes it away. Chalmers, Cole, James! Whoa!
And now the Bengals will turn to their rookie kicker, Evan McPherson.
Here we go. Just like last game. Just like last game. Let's go to the bowl.
The kick is up. Yeah. It is good!
Yeah! Yeah! We did it! We did it!
Tom, what a play, man. Good luck, man. Moving it on. 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 Moving it on.
Last but anything but least, we have the Bengals taking on the Chiefs in the AFC Championship game. Heading into this game, it seemed like a lot of people wrote the Bengals off due to them being at Arrowhead and Mahomes being unstoppable at home. But what's crazy to me is we literally just beat this team a month ago. And we didn't play with a lead or anything the whole time. We came back down 2 scores. And I have to be honest, something that was utterly hilarious to me was how people were thinking this was going to be the Titans pass rush. People were saying our offensive line was so bad the Chiefs were also going to sack us 9 times, and I couldn't believe it. People really took one look at that Bills game, saw the Chiefs offense explode when the Bills defense gassed out, and thought it was going to be an easy run. Well, think again. But yeah, basically the main story heading into this game was just the Bengals being a complete underdog and everybody overlooking them 100% just because Mahomes was home at Arrowhead. And to be completely fair to the Chiefs, that's what it looked like in the first half. The Chiefs rallied off score after score after score on every drive, and the defense looked like it couldn't stop a thing. A player I would also like to touch on in Eli Apple was getting torched in the first half. A lot of people enjoyed it due to the copious amounts of shit he talked on Twitter. I'll return to this later though, because he does redeem himself. Anyways, after the defense can't stop a thing and the offense keeps sputtering out on drives, we end up going down 21-3. However, even with all that, we did find some momentum. The Bengals then went down the field and got a 41-yard screen pass to Samaje Perine of all people for a touchdown. After that, the Bengals defense then stepped on the field, and once again it looked like they couldn't stop a thing until they reached the goal line. As 5 seconds were left on the clock, the Chiefs ran a very bad screen pass to Tyreek Hill, which Eli Apple blew up and made a clutch tackle on the play, resulting in the Chiefs scoring 0 points before the half. See, I told you Eli Apple redeemed himself. Anyways, that completely shifted the momentum right into the Bengals' favor coming out of the half, and boy, it went over. The Bengals defense then made a stout stop, which resulted in the Chiefs punting, and the Bengals getting an Evan McPherson field goal. And then when the Chiefs got the ball on the very first play, BJ Hill shook the entire stadium. Mahomes, in the direction he was throwing, was basically throwing directly at Trey Hendrickson, but he threw it way too low, and BJ Hill jumped up, tipped the ball in the air, and picked it off. With the Bengals in the red zone and it being a 1-score game, down 8, the momentum completely shifted 100% all the way into the Bengals' favor. There was no momentum whatsoever for the Chiefs at this point. Joe Burrow then continued to dart up the Chiefs defense, eventually finding Jamar Chase in the back corner of the end zone. He would then find Trent Taylor on an out route that completely fooled the Chiefs defense, where he was wide open for a 2-point conversion. And at that point, it was 21-21, and the Bengals have officially come back from a 21-3 deficit, now with a tied game. The Bengals defense then stepped up and stopped the Chiefs offense once again, sacking Mahomes for the first time in the entire game at the beginning of the fourth quarter. However, unfortunately, on the very first play of the Bengals' new drive, Joe Burrow threw a bad interception and the Chiefs got the ball back. But you guessed it, the Bengals defense stepped up once again, sacked Mahomes a second time, forced a 3-and-out, and the Chiefs had to punt once again. This led to what is, in my opinion, Joe Burrow's best drive of the entire game. On this drive, he made plays like getting away from Chris Jones when it looked like he had him sacked to the dirt. And on the next third down situation, he made another incredible run for the first down. Joe Burrow would continue to dot up the Chiefs defense, ultimately wasting clock down from 11 minutes to 6 minutes. And that eventually led to Evan McPherson giving us the lead, 24-21, kicking a field goal. However, the Chiefs offense somehow found some life on the very next drive. They stormed down the field with 6 minutes remaining and got in the red zone. The game was on the line. The Chiefs could take the lead here, or they could tie it up and go to overtime. Ultimately, what ended up happening was Sam Hubbard coming in clutch, getting 2 back-to-back sacks, and even Mahomes fumbling on the second one, which almost led to a turnover. The Chiefs kicked the field goal and we were off to overtime. As the coin toss got flipped, Brandon Allen called heads, and ultimately it was tails. After last week's game, many thought the Chiefs already won due to the Chiefs blowing past the Bills in overtime last week. But on the very first drive, Mahomes almost threw picks back-to-back to Eli Apple and Cheeto, before ultimately on the third time throwing it up to Tyreek Hill, which was tipped by Jesse Bates into Von Bell's hands. As you know, Joe Burrow then darted up the Chiefs defense once again, with Joe Mixon running all over them before getting into field goal range and Evan McPherson hitting the game winner that sent us to the Super Bowl. What a way to make noise in this year's playoffs. Whenever I look back on this game, I'm not going to remember the heart. The heart obviously is a big part of why they won this game, but the main reason I'm looking at this game is because of Lou Anarumo. Lou Anarumo was a key piece in turning this game around, and the schemes he worked up were insane. I'm going to put a video up on the I button right here, so make sure you go check it out. I urge you to watch it. It really goes into depth about the defensive adjustments Lou Anarumo made, and it really shows how good of a coordinator he truly is. The way he mixed coverages up and just disguised the zone coverages were insane. It was honestly a masterclass by Lou Anarumo. It really was. So all the credit in the world to Lou Anarumo for getting this defense right, putting the pieces together, and because of it, we're in the Super Bowl. That still doesn't feel right to say. The Cincinnati Bengals are in the Super Bowl. The Cincinnati Bengals are, you see, that just doesn't sound right. It's just crazy. Yes, in case you couldn't tell, I'm still in disbelief over it all. I also have to praise Joe Burrow's ability to escape the pocket, make plays happen, and just evade everybody. I'm being dead serious when I say this. He reminds me of Tony Romo without the turnovers. Basically a clutch Tony Romo. And if you want me to go even further, I think Tony Romo would have won a ring if he didn't have all those interceptions. However, Romo doesn't have the it factor like Brady or Burrow does. So in the mental department, I like to compare Joe Burrow to Brady, but as far as playing styles goes, man, he really reminds me of Tony Romo. But yes, the team all around just, I'm so happy. It really feels good, you know, after so many years of failure and watching the team go downhill, to just finally have this moment. And I think all of you fans can understand what I'm saying. And lastly, thank you, Zach Taylor, for building an amazing culture. Without you, none of this is possible. So again, thank you. The city of Cincinnati appreciates you, and we hope you get extended and you stay. A lot of people were doubting you the first 2 years, but here you are. You put your pieces together, you got your players that you wanted, and you're building something special. And yeah, overall, just what an amazing playoff run. And to think all of this will come to an end at Super Bowl 56.
Times. Allen delivers. Touchdown! Stephon Diggs!
So here we are. Bengals versus Rams for the Lombardi Trophy at Super Bowl 56. When you look at this matchup on paper, the Rams should beat us easily. However, the grit and heart of this team, along with Joe Burrow leading the way, will not allow that to happen. Through all 4 quarters, this will be an absolute dogfight. Both teams will be fighting for who wants it more. Stafford and Donald have been chasing rings forever, going against Joe Burrow and a young, hungry team that wants this ring just as bad. Flat out, the game is going to be amazing. I don't see how this isn't a good game. This game is going to be 100% entertainment. And I, for one, cannot wait. This game is going to be high-flying all over. I'm sure you'll see a lot of defensive grit, and I guarantee you turnovers will be made. It's really hard to say how this Super Bowl will go, as there's so many different outcomes that can happen with this game. I think, however, the main factor you got to look for in this game are adjustments. Don't be surprised if the Rams get out to a 10-plus point lead at the half. You gotta look for what's coming out of the half and what Louis Anarumo is gonna do to try and confuse Stafford and put the pressure on him. You saw how he put the pressure on Mahomes, of all people, after he scored 3 straight touchdowns to open the game. He's not supposed to lose momentum after that. However, Lou's adjustments and defensive schemes confused him enough, and it took the momentum away. So to me, schemes and momentum is really going to be the driving factor of this game. We can also talk about other factors like the offensive line, but that one's obvious, and I feel like everybody's already discussed that out to like the absolute limit already. So here, I will leave you with this. The Bengals, in a year where even I thought we would win no more than 9 games, are in the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl. Enjoy the moment. You don't know if this moment will ever come back again. See you on Super Bowl Sunday, Who Dey fam. Hey, if you made it to the end, thank you for watching. I know I've been gone for 4 weeks, I apologize, but I've been busy watching the playoffs and boy, it's been a wild ride. Did I record this over 3 separate days, all in different clothing? Hell yeah, but it was worth it. I wanted to deliver you guys a great video to come back to and something worth watching. So I put a lot of effort into editing this one and I hope you guys enjoyed it. So if you did enjoy, make sure you like and comment down below your favorite part of the video and make sure you subscribe for more content like this. If you want to follow my socials, they're right there in the corner. Just go to it. It's all on Twitter. And another thing, I also want you to check out the Jungle Fever podcast I host with Rax. Right there in the corner. We just had some guests on and stuff. We got back into the groove of things. We also took a break on the Jungle Fever podcast there for a bit. I apologize for that, but we dealt with COVID. We dealt with a few other things, and it was just not a fun experience. In case you guys didn't know, I had COVID on the day of the first Bengals-Chiefs game, and that kind of really just took all the motivation out of me. But here we are. Super Bowl 56 is just around the corner, so make sure you guys are ready. Hope you all are gathering together with your friends and family watching the game. It's going to be a memorable one. You don't want to miss it. And with that, I think I'm going to get out of here. So again, love your friends, love your family, be around your loved ones and everything. Keep them safe, keep yourself safe, and have a blessed day. Who Dey.